friends, and welcome to this special edition of Trash Talk. I am Rebecca Sir, the City of Bay City's marketing specialist, alongside Sarah Archer, who is representing Iris Waste Diversion Specialist, and you own 5Heart Earthworm Farm.
That's right.
Which is where we're at today. So we took our show on the road. This is a little different location. As you can see, we're going to show you some worms in just a little bit. But first, before we get started talking about the worms and our pilot food scrap program that Sarah is administering, you have something else you want to say?
Yes. Real quick. We got to make a plug because this week is International Compost Awareness Week. So get out there and do some composting and listen to this program, and hopefully you can divert some of those food scraps too. Thanks.
Yes, I did not want to forget that, because ultimately that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're talking about worms, talking about composting, all the fun things that go into this. So as we have announced over the last month or so, Sarah is running this thing called the Pilot Food Scrap Program, and you're picking up select food scraps from people in Bay City, but you have expanded it now. So we first just offered it to people in the city of Bay City. So who else now can sign up for this program that starts June 1st?
Yeah, June 6th.
June 6th.
A collection.
Okay,
right.
Okay.
So, yes.
Well,
so we've had some interest from surrounding communities. So we have opened it up now to include the city of Essexville, Bangor Township, Monitor Township, and Hampton Township residents. So that means because we had planned to close our sign up until on April 30th, we've expanded the sign up now till through May 15th.
So you have a little bit more time. I can't remember if you said Bangor Township or not.
I did say Bangor.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I don't want to forget Bangor Township.
That's right.
We love you out there in Bangor Township.
Yes.
So, okay. So how this kind of works is people sign up for the program, and they can do that by going to iriswds.com. They can sign up there, and do you know what the phone number is offhand?
It's 855-2GO-0. So if you aren't someone who likes to do things online, you can give us a call and we'll take care of it for you.
And this is something, this is a service where you do pay a small fee per month. Is it $20 per month to have this happen? So what happens? So people, they cook their food, they have some food scraps. What food scraps do you want, and what do they do with them when they enroll in the program?
Right. So once you enroll, we will be, as soon as the 15th closes, starting to work on just where the signups are occurring and schedule our routes. We'll be in touch with you to kind of let you know when we're going to come by and deliver you one of our kitchen pails. This is what you can use at your kitchen counter to collect the scraps that you're using as you're preparing your meals. When that gets full, and what we would like you to set out at the front porch is a 5-gallon bucket so that we can empty that and leave it back behind for you to refill for the following week.
So you fill up this kitchen pail, dump it into there, and then you pick it up from their porch, correct? Because we don't want to, I learned last time on one of our food, our trash talks, was we don't want to confuse our sanitation workers or recycle workers, so we'll keep that on your porch, and Sarah and her team will come by and pick it up. And we can't show it to you right now because it's outside, but you have a really cool new tool to help with that. So tell us about, is that Ellie? Is that her name?
Well, that's my husband's call.
Okay.
There's Ellie, because we've got an electric van. So it just kind of goes with the electric and electric Ellie. So we do have an electric van that we will be coming through the neighborhoods to collect the food scraps with. So no emissions, low impact to the planet, and all kind of part of the whole project, because again, keeping food scraps out of the landfill is very important to help us mitigate some of the climate warming that's going on and all of the real bad weather events we're having. So,
and the reason we want to keep food scraps out of landfills is because
when they're in the landfill, as they're breaking down, they combine with other materials and create really bad gases that are harmful to the environment and do create warming gases that, again, are not good for the planet right now.
Okay, people make their food, they have the food scraps. What food scraps do you want? Because there are some things you don't want.
Right. So because we take all of the food scraps that we collect and bring them to the worm farm, we want to make sure that there's nothing in there that's going to take a long time to break down. And worms in nature would handle some of these things, but for our program, we only want vegetative scraps. So basically the things that you are peeling or cutting up. Coffee grounds are fine, tea bags, those kinds of things. Anything that's more of in a raw form or state. We are not interested in having any any meat scraps or dairy, oils, anything like that, just because, again, in our process, they break down way too slow and can cause a lot of problems for us here at the farm.
And I think the way you best explained it to me, a layperson who doesn't know a lot about this, is if it came from the ground, perhaps you'll take it and food scraps. So people do that. They put it in their kitchen pail. They put it in their porch bucket. You pick it up with Ellie, the electric vehicle, and then it comes here to the 5Heart Earthworm Farm.
Right.
What happens when the food scraps arrive here? Because they don't actually, this is, right here we have a bunch of worms. We'll show you these in a minute, don't worry. But first, where does it go and what happens and how long does it stay out there?
Right, so our process is once we receive all the scraps, we bring it here. We're actually going to be weighing the material that we collect from your household, in each household, as we're picking it up. But we like to keep track of all that data. We will be actually adding it to our compost pile here and then breaking it down, the food down a little bit, and getting it to a temperature within the compost pile that's hot enough to kill any pathogens or any kinds of seeds that might be still alive in that pile. And then we feed that to our worms. It takes about 4 months process to actually break that compost down to the point where we want to feed them to the worms, and then that compost is finished by those worms. They're going to actually eat a lot more of the decomposed material and finish that off and turn it into some wonderful worm castings, or in layman's terms, worm poop.
Worm poop. Talking about worm poop today. Never in my life did I think I'd sit here and do a complete video on worm poop, but here I am. So once it's in the right condition, you bring it into here, and what are these called? These are the beds?
Right, we call these our worm beds.
Okay.
So we have 6 worm beds in this little building, our little worm house is what we call it. And so we have 6 right now, and we are going to be building a larger worm barn. And we'll hopefully at some point in the next couple of years be able to have up to 24, 30 beds of worms to manage food scraps from the region. So,
and it's important to mention that as part of this, the van, the expansion, all this this whole program is possible because of grant funding.
Right. Partially, it's partially funded, right? Partially funded with grant money from the state of Michigan's recycling grant program. It's really important for them. They have some high goals for diverting materials from the landfill, and food scraps is one of the easiest materials that we can take and process and create into a new product, right? And it's a very local program, localized program, so it supports local small business owners like me.
Exactly. And wouldn't it be cool if we talk about recycling like it's a common everyday thing, because we hope that it is. Wouldn't it be cool if someday food scrap was something that we all did?
Right, and that's really the goal and the objective. Is as a pilot program, we're learning about the collection. We're hoping to engage our participants in the pilot program by surveying them and finding out what improvements they could have as a resident, using this program, so that again other cities and communities around the state can learn from what Bay City, right. Bay City's setting the stage for future growth here in Michigan with food scrap diversion.
Very cool. Now for the star of the show.
Yes.
I mean, not us. Yeah. It's the worms. So Sarah's going to dig in and kind of show us what's in the worm beds. And then when we're done doing that, we'll take you for a quick little tour to show you a little closer up of that. So if you want to dig in and see if we can find any friends.
Okay.
So if you don't like worms, now is the time to close your eyes.
Right.
Okay.
So what you're going to see is probably looks like just dirt and soil. And I'm going to just scoop out from the beds. And we do have leaves in here because they're helping to break all that down. And see what we've got. They're going to be down in the bottom.
And as I've learned from Sarah and her husband Daryl, worms like not to be too hot.
Right.
So
let's see. Can you see? There's a worm right there.
Is there?
Yeah.
I can't see. My 6-year-old son would think this is
Let's
like the
see.
greatest thing ever. So they're in there. So you put the food scraps in there. You kind of cover them up with stuff, and they just
There's a little
eat.
guy.
Like their job is to eat food scraps.
Right.
I
Yes.
mean,
The worms,
wouldn't like
types
my
of
job.
worms that we use are worms that live near the surface of the earth. So these are the same type of worms that you would find if you were to kick over a manure pile on a farm or a leaf pile in your own backyard. They're the surface dwelling ones, and that's really their job, is to break down all of this organic matter that's at the surface of the earth. So they're not your big night crawlers that you covet for fishing. Those guys live way deep into the earth and really burrow bigger holes into the ground to help with water filtration and things like that.
Okay. I have a few more questions for you, but first, Sarah, stay close because we're tethered together with our microphones.
that's right.
But we're gonna grab this off of here and take you for a little tour, and I'll put this around.
Okay.
Okay, so make sure this isn't in the way. So this is kind of what the worm bed looks like.
Right.
So it just looks like leaves and dirt and.
Oh, there's another guy. Whoops. Get around our tether here.
And so Sarah, we're talking about this because the end goal is,
Is
obviously to divert
castings,
things from the
right.
landfill, but also this is something that's really good for your gardens and your stuff at
Right,
home. So
right.
talk about that, about why
Right.
these are so sought after and the worm castings are such a cool thing.
So, right. So once the worms have gone through and really processed and finished off the composted food scraps, then that takes another 3 months, 4 months before we'll actually do what we call harvest. and we're harvesting for the castings. So we have a big screener that separates the castings from the worms. We'll gather all those castings up, and every harvest right now with these 6 beds, we harvest about 2,500 to 3,000 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll just kind of recycle our worms back into these beds and continue the process all over again. And so as part of the pilot study, anybody that's participating is actually going to receive at the end of the 9-month program one of our buckets, 30 pounds of worm castings to use in their own flower beds or their own house plants and things like that. And if they don't want castings because they don't have a garden, they can donate it to the city parks program, and they can help beautify your lovely parks in the city.
So let's show us really quick. This is the worm bed here, but you have a different type too, and I'm trying not to lose you because we're attached.
Okay, right.
We're gonna go over here. These are all worm beds.
I'm following you.
Okay.
So this is an example of how we actually started many years ago. We used to, and this is kind of how you would do a home worm bin. You would have your bedding, which is just recycled newspaper that's nice and wet, and the
food scraps.
Some food scraps. So this is actually from a juice bar that we collect from in Flint. And I'll give a shout out to Willow's Garden Juice Bar down at Flint Farmers Market. They've been a long time participant in our program.
Real quick before we go, Sarah, you've expanded the program. It's not just City of Bay City anymore. Who is involved now, and how do they sign up? One last time before we go.
Right. Come on, Bangor Township, Hampton Township, Monitor Township, and City of Essexville residents. You can now participate in our program. Sign up is through May 15th.
All right. And we'll put, of course, up here the phone number and the web address. So thank you for coming on a special tour for Trash Talk at the 5Heart Earthworm Farm. And we'll see you soon, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.